Oh my god, quick, get the popcorn. The show's about to start. Oh my god, here we go. Wrestling podcasts with your hosts, Chrissy and Chris. Been a hot minute. Welcome back. We got a lot to talk about. To start off, so the spear and the tsunami heard round the world from Perth today. Holy shit. Let's get into it. Just right off the bat, let's just get into this because is this a work? Is this real? Are we being Rollins distracted? Are we not being Rollins distracted? But I've been kind of seeing some breakaways here. Let's get into it.
Well, um, as usual, I think it's absolutely brilliant storytelling. Um, Listen, there are a lot of people, and I make this mistake is I watch these videos on Facebook, right? And then you read the comments
Oh, yep.
and people talking about, they should have waited, bad timing, the vision never worked, it was a failure, it was that, it was this, you know, playing armchair general manager from home, right? That's what a lot of these people do. Let me for those out there that don't understand what's going on, allow me to enlighten you, okay? And maybe like I do on this show. It's been a while since I got to get my licks in here.
Yeah, we might be a
Okay.
little rusty today, but it's all right.
Oh no, 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 no. Rust is already
Oh,
off.
no rust? Okay, cool.
The second you hit that record button, the rust wore off. Okay, we're back.
Perfect. Let's go.
So, have you ever? I'm gonna ask a question. Okay, and I want everyone to think about it before they come up with their answer. This whole vision thing over the last however many months it's been. Now that we're here, who is this really about?
Mm.
This whole storyline. Who is it really about?
Seth freaking Rollins and his
No, it's
need to
not.
climb to the top. Really?
No, it's not. It's about Paul Heyman. Why do I think that? When have you ever? How long's Paul Heyman been in WWE? Since 2002. When has Paul Heyman ever aligned himself with anybody that looks like Seth Rollins, that acts like Seth Rollins, that talks, walks, or wrestles like Seth Rollins? The answer is never. Think about who Paul Heyman has been with: Brock Lesnar, The Big Show, Kurt Angle. Then, there was the Lesnar thing again.
Yeah, yeah.
CM Punk, Roman Reigns. None of these guys are outlandish like Seth Rollins is, have the fancy schmancy theme song that the fans sing along to it. The fans sing Cult of Personality now, but in 2011 and 12, they didn't. They just roared the whole time, right? We were there. We saw that. He has never, ever, ever aligned himself with anyone that even remotely resembles Seth Rollins in any way, shape, form, or fashion. Well, does Braun Breaker remind you of anyone? He's got a little bit of Brock Lesnar in him, doesn't he? That intensity, the power. You got that dog in him, right? Kind of reminds you a little bit of Brock Lesnar. Oh, wait. Speaking of Brock Lesnar, can we go back a few weeks to WrestlePalooza? What happened after Lesnar and Cena?
We see Brock
Lesnar,
Lesnar canoodling with Paul
ah,
Heyman.
let's talk, right? Ever since then, we've seen some separation, to your point, in the vision. Well, Seth Rollins is the world champion. Seth Rollins is sitting pretty. Seth Rollins doesn't need to talk to anybody about anything, co-conspire to do anything with anybody. He's at the top. But then you got Braun Bronson here, and right in the middle of this whole thing, pulling the strings, is Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman is struggling to find a home.
Mm-hmm.
He wants to be with the world champion, but he doesn't want that world champion to be Seth Rollins. Paul Heyman wants to be with the world champion, but he wants to pick who the world champion is. Braun Breaker is more like somebody that Paul Heyman would align himself with, not Seth Rollins.
No.
Seth Rollins isn't this dominant, overbearing freak of an athlete that all of his other people were. So the question is, what now? Right? Where does that leave Seth? Is probably the most important question at this point because he's the world champion, and that whole segment ended with Braun Breaker
Holding the title.
title, right? But, and I'm sure we'll get into this, there's a number one contender for the world title, and his name is CM Punk. So, where does that leave this whole scenario? And I'll allow you before I tell you what's going to happen, because I've we're going to get into this, but I've developed a pattern over the last 6 months or so, like this whole John Cena reunion tour. I basically called all of it down to the opponents that he's facing, down to these matches being like memoriam matches. You know, I'm kind of on a roll. So I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. But I want your opinion on this whole thing. Like, what do you see, if anything, happening from here?
Look, I think we can both go on record here and say that the last 6 months and the last few months, like, I think we've been doing this podcast that long, past 6 months or so. We have called many things and we have been right on many things. I've been wrong on many things. For
Me
example,
too. Me
the
too.
the Seth Rollins injury, I came on here going, "Oh, poor Seth, he's injured." I would like to now say that I'm a dumbass, and I will never, on this podcast, I will never, ever say that that person is actually really injured until I have the facts again. But
I made
even then, I don't trust it. Now, the last 6 months with this storyline of the Vision, which, oh God, all honesty, has been kind of insufferable. Um, I'm actually kind of happy we're going in a different direction here, but here's my perspective. So you have Seth. Seth's the big dog right now. He yes, he is the world heavyweight champion. He is the visionary. He is the revolutionary. He is the crown jewel champion, which by the way, you cheated. Don't even you did not win that fairly, but whatever. I'm gonna let you have this one because your little feelings needed it, okay? So we're gonna let you have this. But for the past 6 months, we've been seeing Seth Rollins with Paul Heyman, which we all know who Paul Heyman is. If I could dig into that man's brain about wrestling, I would, because the man obviously is fucking genius with wrestling, okay? But the past couple months, we've been seeing a little bit of a, and let me tell you why, which I've gone on record to the show talking about factions, tag teams, so on and so forth. The dynamic will shift, so to speak, of you have this guy, he gets a title, he's on cloud nine because he is the cream of the crop. And then you have these guys that are like, I'm tired of this. Like, I'm the cream of the crop too. And then they turn on each other. You have this inkling feeling. Seth's by himself, but I don't think he's really by himself. We all know Seth Rollins is the one who is 20 steps ahead of everybody else. I have this inkling feeling that something is about to go down with the visionary, that a certain Brock Lesnar is about to come into play because, again, Clash at Paris. If I remember correctly, Brock Lesnar was at Clash at Paris, or am I wrong? Don't know, but I'm going to keep this gravy train rolling here, ladies and gentlemen, okay? Feel free to correct me in the chat, whatever you got to do, okay? Chris just mentioned it. Brock came up to Paul. He's like, we got to talk. What was that conversation like, Paul? Would you like to go on record for the class to explain to us what your conversation was with the Beast Incarnate? I think we're all waiting. We're also inching closer to Survivor Series War Games, which we all know is where a lot of things go down, especially in the factional world. Okay, so we're going to see something at War Games. Are we going to see Seth Rollins make a shift back into a babyface? I don't know. Kind of where I'm at. I think Seth is a lone wolf right now, which might be good for him, but it's anyone's guess at this point. I think Brock Lesnar's going to get involved. That's just my thought. I could be entirely wrong. Um, CM Punk, my, he won fair and square. Great match, by the way. Um, he deserves his title shot, right? He deserves his pound of flesh, so to speak, from Seth Rollins because Seth screwed him over at SummerSlam. I'm still salty about that, by the way. Cried, tears of joy, and then was so angry. I told my husband, if you do not remove me from this living room, I will bust this TV. True story. So we have that. Now we have Braun Breaker holding up the title because you know they all hold up the title because like, oh, I'm coming for this now. Ha ha. So now what? Do we get a triple threat match? Could see it happening. Braun's moving up in the wrestling world. The two Braun Breaker is moving up. Bronson Reed's moving up. They've actually honestly been doing great these past 6 months. I've really loved watching their development. And so the sky's the limits at this point. And I guess that's my 2 cents.
I'm going to educate the youth.
The youth of America.
and we're gonna get into more of this a little more in depth later on, but there is a there's a group of people out there, and it's a big group of people that consider themselves to be wrestling historians, that you listen to them and you're sitting there going, no, that's not how it went down. That's not what happened. That's not what any of this is about. A lot of them are the ones that like record themselves watching the show and give like live reactions and stuff like that. Like I don't want to call anybody out here, but it's the only name I can think of right now. Like Santi Zap and all those people. Listen, no disrespect. Santi Zap didn't start watching wrestling till 2001. Everything good in wrestling happened pre 2001. So all of this build up, all of this to say everything in wrestling comes full circle. Everything, everything has an ending. There is nothing open ended in wrestling. Now, sometimes it will be open ended, but it will never end open ended. There will always be a conclusion. Now, sometimes that conclusion won't manifest itself till years and years and years later. The perfect example is my favorite word, Montreal. Montreal happened in 1997. There was no ending to that for the next 12 years until Bret Hart came back to the WWE and did like a 4 or 5 show run when he was on John Cena's Survivor Series tag team in like '09 or whatever it was. And Shawn and Bret had that moment in the ring where they hug it out and everything. That's your conclusion. So, like, sometimes these things don't manifest themselves to years later, but there's always a full circle moment. We use that term on this show so much, but that's what this is. What the fuck am I talking about? Seth Rollins has no friends anymore. In this rise to the top, he has alienated everyone around him to get what he wants. And yeah, the title, but more than that, it's the power that he wanted. Well, he's got it. At least he had it. Because now, to your point, he's all alone. Sound familiar?
Sounds like a Roman Reigns type of situation.
Does it ever?
And Roman did tell his family that he ain't seeing them till Christmas.
Does it ever sound like what Roman Reigns literally just went through? Is there a common theme between Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns? Oh, yeah. Paul Heyman,
Yep.
number one. But number two is the Shield.
Mm.
Christina, educate the youth. What happened 11 years ago? Seth Rollins hit Roman Reigns in the back with a chair. Has that ever been closed?
No, they
Has that
continue to hit each other in the back with chairs.
closed? No.
Mm-mm.
That chapter has never been closed. Where am I going with this? Seth Rollins is going to have to eat crow.
Mm.
Seth Rollins is going to have to apologize to Roman Reigns for what he did 10 years ago because now Seth and Roman have a common enemy. Bronson Reed's one of them.
Braun
Paul
Breaker.
Heyman, Ron Breaker.
Yep.
Common enemies. Seth Rollins, after all these years of holding on to this and having it never come full circle, Seth Rollins is going to have to say, well, buddy, I fucked up. You know, kind of like Roman Reigns had to do with CM Punk
Hmm.
and Jey Uso like a year ago. Everything comes full circle. How many times on this show have I said all roads lead back to Roman Reigns? I have said it over and over and over again. And
Yeah.
here we are, a month away from, to your point, Survivor Series War Games, where you know there will be a team that is formed by Paul Heyman that will probably, again, to your point, consist of Braun and Bronson and Brock. At least those three. Okay. You would assume that maybe Solo Sokoa makes an appearance or somebody related to that Paul Heyman tribe, or they'll find two cronies or whatever.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
But then there's Seth and Roman
And you
and
also have,
yeah,
yep,
and Jimmy
yep.
and Punk. Okay, we're building something here. Okay, but I'm telling you, Seth Rollins has no alternative. He can't battle it by himself. Cody Rhodes tried that.
Mm.
It didn't work.
No, I didn't.
Cody Rhodes had to fess up and put his ego and his BS aside because there was a common enemy. And once he did that, he got him off his back. That's what Seth is going to have to do. But Seth is going to have to make right the one thing that he has sworn he will never apologize for. Because if Seth doesn't hit Roman in the back, Seth Rollins' career doesn't do this, right?
Right.
Seth Rollins shot to the top after he did that. So he's always said, I'm never going to apologize for that.
Well,
Guess what?
got no choice now, boy.
I, you will, because he's got one option. One, he has to make right with Roman Reigns.
Better go
You're up
apologize
for
to
the
the big dog because it's either you go solo mio and you decide to fight your little cronies that you created,
correct.
or you're
He
like,
has to do, that's exactly right. He has to do what Roman Reigns had to do. He has to kill his creation.
right,
The problem is, the problem for Seth is that he's had this monkey over his back for the last 10 plus years. With the Roman Cody thing, when Roman had to make right with Cody, that was a 2 year long
right.
odyssey of just them going back and forth fighting one another. There was never a betrayal. There was never a, oh, we're best friends. Now we're not. There was never any of that. It was
It's
all competitive. It
right.
was all who's the best. I want to be champion. I want to finish my story. This Seth thing is way beyond that.
It was we have a common enemy, and I feel that we have a common goal and we are on the same page as of this. And that's when it was squashed. But here's the
Correct.
thing about Seth Rollins is he holds on to the grudge
Yes, he does.
forever and ever and ever. Amen. Like I I need to hear Seth Rollins say some shit to CM Punk one more time before I lay him out.
Here's my and that right there, that to me is a really key point in this, and then we can move off this topic because we're droning on. But it's worth it because here's what it leads to. We know damn well, okay? You know that when, and I say when, not if, when CM Punk wins that world title, it's going to be at WrestleMania. Okay? It's not going to be before WrestleMania. They're going to, why? They're going to give that moment to CM Punk. Remember, he was in the main event, but he lost. Now it's revenge tour. So this is the time of year, folks at home, youngins, where all you have multiple people in multiple different storylines, but they all start to do this. They all start to intertwine and attach themselves, and it starts to form this interlocking thing here. And then at WrestleMania, it goes, okay, that's what happens. That's the way this thing works. It's worked like this for 50 years. Okay. CM Punk wants the world title, but he also wants Seth Rollins' neck. Problem is, Seth now has not only CM Punk as an enemy, but he has Braun and Bronson as an enemy, and there's Paul Heyman, who, by the way, let's not rule out, and I don't want to put anything crazy out there. I don't do that kind of thing, but let's not rule out a CM Punk Paul Heyman reunion either, because we know that that's a friendship. That is a real life friendship. I'm not saying CM Punk is doing anything dirty on the side. I think what they're going to do is they're going to make Punk the world champion at WrestleMania in a crowning achievement moment. This is your last year was not your WrestleMania main event. This is your WrestleMania main event, and you win, and the crowd goes crazy, and he cries, and we cry with him, and that kind of thing. And then from there, whatever happens, happens. But I think they're going to give him that moment at Mania. Point being, this thing can go anywhere, but the commonality is that Rollins is going to have to make right if he wants to hold on to that world title. He's going to have to make right with several people, which means he's going to have to put his ego aside. Can he do it? This is a real test of Seth Rollins. His back is against the wall. Is he going to do what he should do? Or is pride going to get in the way and he's going to get his ass kicked week after week after week after week and have all these people coming after him? I, I, Roman Reigns is where this thing comes back to. Rollins is going to have to, he's going to have to eat crow with Roman. And
Gonna
that's going to be interesting to watch. I'm like you. I'm glad that they're going in a different direction. I mean, don't get me wrong. I liked the whole vision thing. I'm not like everybody else. There's a lot of people that hated the idea of the vision and thought it was a failure, whatever. I don't see it that way at all because since the vision formed, Breaker and Reed have risen. And that's the whole point of a faction, right?
that's the
Look at
success.
evolution, right? Without evolution, Randy Orton never becomes world champion. Batista, who we'll talk about later in this show, Batista never has that face turn where he power bombs Triple H to take, the whole thing, and he becomes world champion. Like that's what factions do. They get people to that next level. So to say it was a failure is stupid because I mean if you say it's a failure, you don't know how the business works. Anyway, I'm droning on and on. Please go ahead.
Oh no, we're fine because I think our viewers can learn a thing or two by going back and watching some of our older episodes. Because we
I
talk
agree.
about factions and we talk about the educational part of it. To say that this quote unquote faction was a failure is some BS. Please come at me and Chris in the comments because we are going to educate you. It's not a failure when you have two people who weren't really like they were doing things, but they weren't at that level. And you get them in a level with Paul Heyman and Seth Rollins, who is a bona fide Hall of Famer, and
Exactly.
this is where they're at. Educate yourselves.
We do understand that Paul Heyman is writing the storylines behind all of this, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Has Paul Heyman done anything that is a failure?
Oh,
Not that I recall, unless you want to count ECW, but I don't consider ECW to be a failure. That's a
don't
subject for a different
don't come
day.
at us with ECW either, okay? Like we will actually hit you with a chair
Oh, listen,
to the face.
nobody can talk shit about ECW to me, man.
Don't try it. Don't don't
That's a bad way to approach me.
don't do it at all. That's like coming at him with the Montreal screw job.
Oh God, no!
See?
At this point, that just annoys me because I'm so tired of these freaking Bret Hart diehards. And listen, I, I truly, I truly do not dislike Bret Hart. I really don't. But if you're gonna tell me that the WWE, WWF at the time would have been better off had Bret Hart not done business for Shawn fucking Michaels, you've lost your mind. You've lost your mind. And I'll end that conversation with that because that is going down a rabbit hole that we don't have time for.
No, we don't. Um,
See, she knows.
yeah.
She knows that if I get started on anything that has to do with Sean, but especially the M word, we're going to be here for a month.
Yeah, it's going to be like a four-part series
That's right. That's right. And it deserves it. Shit.
with a whole cork board, like that episode of It's Always Sunny in
Yeah,
Philadelphia with Pepe
that's right.
Sylvia. And it's
That's
going to be
right.
like multiple Pepes. There's just
That's right.
Pepes everywhere. That's what
Don't,
it's going
don't,
to be.
don't come to me with the M word, man. I,
100%.
I'm going to go off on a tangent here later on, and you know what it's about. But I have my own little segment here later on that I'm going to get into. But anyway,
I'm
what's
so
next?
excited for that. Well, in the wrestling world, we saw in total nonstop action, the
Oh,
Dudleys retired,
oh
gave
my,
their boots to the Hardys. Didn't need that early in the morning, okay, with the
oh
Monday
my,
already being a Monday. Thank you, emotions.
oh my God.
Didn't get to
Listen,
watch that match, but I'm gonna have to go back and watch it because, the Dudleys and the Hardys are part of my childhood. So,
Jeff Hardy did a swanton off the ladder through the table. And I don't want to give away the ending, but you're gonna go watch it anyway.
yeah, don't give away the ending, but I'll go watch it.
Nah, but Devon gets put through the table, and at the very end, it's Bubba in the ring with Matt and Jeff, and it's like Bubba just kind of accepts his fate, and the Hardys like double spine busting through the table. Listen, I've been watching wrestling since 1994. I've seen a lot of. I'm so glad we're talking about this. First of all, I've seen a lot of emotional stuff and real stuff, right? Like everybody, wrestling's fake. It's not fake. We've gotten on that discussion before too.
Yep.
It's not fake. And what happened this morning at Bound for Glory proves it. The Dudleys handing their boots to the Hardys. I I I don't even have words for it. Like the words will not. That was the coolest thing, and I feel I feel so bad for this younger generation that doesn't understand what that means. Like I was talking about it earlier. Uh, like if you didn't watch wrestling pre 2000, the Dudleys and Hardys doesn't mean what it should mean to you. It doesn't. And I'm not blaming, but you don't get it. You didn't live it. It's one thing to all these years later go back and watch it on YouTube or whatever.
It's not the same.
It's a whole different thing to have lived it and to have been in the era where pay-per-views were $59.99 every 4 Sundays. Okay. And your parents, or in my case, my grandparents, would have to order it for me so I could sit down on Sunday night at 7 o'clock and stay up till 11 watching it. Like it's a whole different ball game to have lived in that era, dude. Though you could really make an argument for those two tag teams being the two greatest tag teams ever, ever. Not just in our era, ever. Certainly the Dudley, I mean, in my opinion anyway, the Dudleys are number one because they've got like 27 tag team championships or some stupid shit like that. But the Hardys are like right there. Like without question, they are two of the five greatest tag teams to have ever lived. And it's the greatest tag team rivalry ever. So for that, dude, that was really emotional and just a really, really, really cool moment.
I think watching the little snippets that I did today, almost poetic, kind of
Oh, sure.
cathartic, especially when you've grown up watching these two go head to head with each other. Um,
Over and
it's
over and over and over again. And like,
it's amazing to watch your childhood just it's as you get older and you start seeing the childhood heroes that you grew up watching, emulating. For example, I tried to do a swanton bomb into the swimming pool and did it belly up. That shit hurts anyway. Um, you watch these guys and these women and you grow up with them and you start seeing them retire and it's all these full circle moments. You know, it tugs on the heartstrings a little bit. So watching The Dudleys take their boots off, give
Oh,
them to the Hardys, have watching Jeff break down like
just gonna say, Jeff Hardy started crying.
and wrestling's
Like,
fake. Okay. I'll
oh my
die on the hill. Look, you Hardys and Dudleys.
dude, that listen,
Yeah.
of all, I'm trying to think of all of the like retirement, emotional kind of things that I've seen. Dude, that was, I mean, that's up there. Like to your point, like to when they did this with the boot, dude, Jeff lost it. Like totally and completely lost it. And I just, yeah, yeah, that's
To all of us millennials, how we doing today?
listen, in all seriousness, the Dudleys,
Badass.
people our age, Christina, we really owe the Dudleys. I don't think people appreciate just how great the Dudleys were. And a lot of the time, what I've always appreciated about the Dudleys is how, like with Edge and Christian, who I love. Okay, I mean, who doesn't love Edge and Christian, right?
If you don't
But
get off this podcast.
right. But could you not make the argument, and I think it's a completely fair one, that Edge and Christian did just as well as singles competitors? I mean, certainly Edge did. You
Absolutely.
know, and Christian, to his credit, he went to TNA and the whole thing, but he had a great singles career. And even Matt and Jeff ended up splitting
Mhm.
off. And Matt went and won the ECW title. Jeff was the World Heavyweight Champion, and then he was the WWE Champion. And but again, two successful solo careers. Matt Hardy did the whole broken Matt Hardy thing, but Bubba and Devon, there was a time for about a year or two when they split off. But for the most part, they've always been a team. And to have maintained that relevancy and to maintain that thing about you. I mean, 30 plus years. Because people forget that the Dudleys were doing this in ECW.
Mhm.
It's where they made the name for themselves with the tie dye, right? Like this is 30 plus years of this. We owe the Dudleys big time, man. Um, Greatest tag team ever. I've said we've done tag teams on this show before. They're at the top of my list.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we've mentioned the Dudleys on this podcast in that tag team episode, so please go back and watch it. But, Devon has, I believe, gone on record stating that he's terrified of heights and he still got up and
Yep.
did the damn thing with Jeff in the early days. So
Listen,
kudos, kudos.
thank you to the Dudleys, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna,
I don't. I mean, I don't. I don't. Not that I think they're ever going to see this, but you never know. I just they're big time, man, and they were a staple of my childhood in wrestling, a staple. As obviously as were the Hardys, but the Hardys haven't retired. So shout out to Bubba and Devon, man. That was pretty damn cool.
Hell yeah. So, to us millennials, I hope that we get through this in our mourning period.
Ah,
A lot of different things for us to mourn us millennials, but for the rest of you, definitely need to go and watch some Dudley Boys from Dudleyville matches. So,
the tables.
Devon, get the tables! And then, of course, Spike Dudley always gets sacrificed. Poor Spike.
Yes, poor Spike. God, shout out to Spike, man. Shout out to Spike Dudley.
The
The Dudley. Everybody talks about Devon.
Get
Get the
the
table.
tables.
I swear to you, my favorite thing that the Dudleys did was that move where Bubba holds their legs open.
Oh,
Devon goes to the top rope and they go, what?
you'd get in trouble if you did that at school, by the way.
They would show Bubba going through the crowd like this, and he'd go, what? And then the camera would go to Devon, and Devon would be on the top rope, and he'd go, what? I loved that, man. The Dudleys were so great, man. God, I love them.
Children of the youth,
The what?
please, please do the West
That's
at
right.
school. And don't tell me that you don't not get in trouble.
That's
Okay.
awesome.
So another thing that you get in trouble for as a millennial in school is doing the West to
The what?
somebody and then, crossing the X over your crotch and telling someone
Oh,
to
no,
suck it.
that one stands alone. That one stands alone. Okay.
Thanks,
The the
Paul.
the the crotch chop stands alone. Thank you, Sean. Thank you, Paul.
Yeah, those times in school suspension were great. Thank you. I would like
Uh,
reprimations for that. Um,
it's another thing that deserves its own episode on this show is DX.
I would like reprimations for having to go to in-school suspension. I take that in the form of check and food.
Yeah,
So,
the amount of times that I was quoted, uh, you know, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages,
privileges.
quoting the road dog. Oh man, yeah, that was
Instant detention.
yeah.
Pop it in the comments what you went to detention for as a kid watching wrestling. We would love to know. Um, Moving onward, what else has gone on in the wrestling world? We've had SummerSlam, we've had WrestlePalooza, AJ Lee came back. We have four more dates, ladies and gentlemen. I'm trying to just put it in the back of my mind that it's not really happening and that this is just the Matrix. But it's happening. John Cena, four more dates. I don't have the money for therapy, so I'm gonna have to play Boys to Men. It's so hard to say goodbye for the next, couple months.
It's hard to believe, isn't it?
It's
I mean,
wild.
it just really is.
That
Uh,
match that him and AJ put on,
oh my
they put
God.
on a clinic.
Oh my God.
AJ showing up in his classic
Listen,
AJ Styles gear, still fitting as good as it
man,
did.
I,
Hello.
hang on, wait a second. I'm gonna do the Chris Guyette. Do you remember a few months ago on this show, I went on a rant about how good AJ Styles is and how underappreciated I thought he was? Yeah,
Oh yeah, we both got onto that.
that's what I'm talking about.
Yep.
Okay. Where do I get my information from? Go watch that match between him and
Oh
John Cena.
my God. It was so
That's
great.
what I'm talking about.
That was a great match. So we got four dates left.
Oh my God, it was amazing.
They pulled everything out of their memory box of tricks.
Listen, the moment after Cena hit Sister Abigail,
Oh yeah, I cried. I
when the
boohoo cried.
everybody turned their phones on and Cena is sitting in the ring. There's a picture.
Hmm.
If you haven't seen the picture, there's a still frame of Cena sitting in the middle of the ring after he hits the move and AJ kicks out. And there's like a bajillion cell phone flashlights on, and Cena is just looking up at the crowd and just smiling. Listen, don't ever, damn it, here I go again. Don't ever let anyone minimize this shit to you, man. Bray Wyatt is dead. Bray Wyatt meant a lot to a lot of people, not just as a wrestler, but as a human being. And people forget that Bray Wyatt had a young wife and young children. Okay. To see Cena react that way, you can just about imagine how everybody at home reacted to it. Don't ever let anyone minimize wrestling to you. Wrestling brings us together. That's the point of it. That's why we do podcasts like this. See, it makes you feel a certain way. It brings you together. It gives people in a world today, and not to get all mushy with this, but in a world today that is so freaking divided for so many reasons, wrestling is one of those things that we can all just go, damn, this is nice. You know, it's storytelling, but at the same time, there's such a tangible realness to it all. And that match where they pay tribute to, because that's what that was. It had very little to do with John Cena versus AJ Styles. It was getting two of the very best wrestlers to have ever laced it up in any era ever in the ring, and let's just put on a show and let's honor wrestlers. Let's just honor the ones that have come before us. And that's what they did. And it was beautiful and it was perfect. And I just, Cena having Alicia Taylor read the handwritten entrance that Cena himself wrote for AJ. Don't tell me this shit is fake.
That was the sweetest, most sincere thing ever.
It was so John Cena. It just screamed John Cena. When she says the definition of total nonstop action, and they pan to Cena, and he's got a big old smile on his face, and he's clapping like this, like that's. Don't ever let anyone minimize this shit to you, man. There is such a realness to all of this. Anyway, go on.
To add to that point, it's you can agree to disagree to put pineapples on your pizza, which, by the way, pineapples on pizza is a great idea. Um, but you get us wrestling fans in a room together, and we can all
Nothing else matters.
unanimously agree that nothing outside in the world matters except for what is in front of us when
That's
we are
right.
watching wrestling. And those feelings that we get, for example, AJ Lee coming back. Oh my God. I bawled my eyes out.
It.
I bawled my ever-loving eyes out because growing up as a tomboy and being the outcast from everybody because you like comic books or you like wrestling and you're a girl, and then you have someone like AJ Lee come out and she is 100% that tomboy, just perfection. Absolutely perfection. But the next person that says wrestling is fake is getting throat punched by me. 100%.
The only people that say that are the people that have never given it the time of day.
All gas, no brakes, one word, you're getting throat punched in the neck. Yeet.
Uh,
You're gonna be going,
yeah, that's right.
tell me wrestling's fake again. I want you to go back and watch Sid Vicious and how he got off the turnbuckle in the top
Oh
rope
God.
and his fucking shin went through his boot.
Oh God.
Okay? Tell me wrestling's
Yeah,
fake.
yeah, yeah. Wrestling's fake. Tell that to Triple H, who tore his quad in the middle of a match with Kurt
And
Angle and Chris Jericho, and
still,
wrestled another 5 minutes.
tell that to
Yeah,
Cody
yeah,
Rhodes, who fought with a
yeah.
torn pectoral muscle.
Oh, wait. Yeah, you know where I'm going. Here I go. Tell wrestling's fake to Shawn Michaels, who broke his back in a casket match with The Undertaker 6 minutes into the match and wrestled another half hour with a man that's 300 pounds. Yeah, wrestling's fake.
Here's another one.
Uh,
Wrestling's fake. Tell me that wrestling's fake when The Undertaker gets a head concussion, doesn't remember where the fuck he is, and is still
yeah,
wrestling and finishes his match, but loses the streak. And guess who was there watching?
I was there. I
Or
remember this is no bullshit. Not to cut you off, but this is no bullshit. I remember watching that match and like midway through it, when Taker there's a moment where Taker is standing up and they're throwing strikes, right? I turned to Maddie and I went, Taker doesn't look right. Like he was like almost missing these. Yeah, I know they technically do miss them, but like he was like way missing.
yeah, those
I'm
sets
like,
he was doing was kind of.
that's weird.
Hmm.
And he wasn't moving right, and I'm like, and I literally remember turning to her going, I don't. He doesn't look right. Little did we know, you know. But
Also,
that
one,
that's a
yeah,
big what if, man. That's one of the biggest what ifs of wrestling. Is what if the Undertaker doesn't get concussed in that match?
right.
Like, do we know for a fact that Lesnar was written in to win that match?
We'll
Maybe he
never
was,
know. Maybe.
but again, maybe he wasn't. Yeah,
And
I don't know.
one more tell us wrestling's fake. Watching Owen Hart fall from the top of the rafters down into the ring and dies. Yeah, go ahead.
Wrestling's fake, right? Yeah. Tell that to Mick Foley,
Getting thrown off the top of the
who got
cage.
thrown off the top of a Hell in a Cell, which is 22 and a half feet in the air, by the way. That's the actual measurement. Through an announce table down to a concrete floor, who got up off the stretcher, climbed all the way back up the cell to get thrown through again down to the ring in a choke slam by the Undertaker, and had a tooth sticking out of his nose. Wrestling's fake.
And I
Yeah,
guess that ends our wrestling's fake segment of the show. Uh,
there's nothing that pisses me off more. There's only one other thing that comes close, and it's the word botch.
oh, we've talked
Oh
about
my,
BOTCH on the
oh
show
my
too.
God.
Yeah.
People say that word. I want to be like, what? This is one take, dude. They're live. There's no such thing as a fucking botch. They missed the move. It happens.
The only
And
person,
if it's so easy, You go fucking do it.
First off, the only person that should be ever saying botch is it should be Danny DeVito and It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia when he cuts his toe with a knife and goes, "Oh, botch toe! Oh,
Yeah.
it's a botch toe!" But
Yeah.
like there's a reason we are not all wrestlers, okay? Like you're not gonna see my big chunky ass getting into a ring, fighting somebody. Like
But these freaking guys that are sitting on their freaking couch every day eating freaking potato chips
me.
and and no, come on, and stuffing their listen. You're in a situation right now, okay, that we won't advertise to everybody, but you have an excuse, okay? These freaking guys that play armchair WWE general manager that want to be Triple H and they're sitting on their freaking couches stuffing their face with Oreos and shit. Or you fucking botched that. You go do it. You go fucking do it. I hate when people use botch and fake. The, oh my god, man. It just the one little piece of nerve that I have with the viewing public with wrestling, they just take that nerve and they go,
They're like, "Oh, you're a wrestling fan? Oh, well, that was a botch. Oh, fake!" And then you just
you, dude.
explode like the Incredible Hulk,
A
you know?
botch? What the fuck is a botch? Anyway, next topic of discussion that's actually scheduled for the show, please.
Honestly, I'm gonna be real with you, not gonna lie. I did this much. So we have literally improvised half of this show.
We're just going ad lib. Hey, these are the best ones. I love this.
I did I did this much.
Yeah, I
Progress,
did.
people. It just we're just we're
Every
just talking.
everything that I have is up here in this
Yeah,
big ass head of mine.
that's where mine is at too. So anyway, Batista.
Oh God.
So
Yeah. While we're talking about the viewing public, oh my God.
there's nothing wrong with Batista, but since we're into WrestleMania season, which again, go back and watch our previous episodes. We talk a lot about the year leading up to WrestleMania. So we had our first inducted into the Hall of Fame, which is Stephanie McMahon. Kudos to her. That was the most beautiful way that absolutely love it. You could tell it wasn't planned. It just happened. She
Love
didn't
it.
know anything about it. I cried when Stephanie cried, okay? But there's a certain somebody who I don't know who this person is, who really pissed in Chris's Cheerios
Oh
recently
my God. Okay.
about
Yeah.
Batista. So,
It's so, dude,
I
our
like to stir the pot on this podcast.
our our timing on things sometimes is so impeccable. When I tell you that I was typing in Facebook Messenger, I was typing to you about this whole scenario that happened on Saturday morning.
Hmm.
Okay. And I went to send you a message and your messages you sent me popped up. I'm like, oh, perfect. Well, guess what? So Saturday mornings. Let me run through my normal Saturday mornings. Right? It is you get up, you take care of breakfast, you take care of the wife, you take care of the baby. Right? We do all of that, and usually I will sit down and I will get ready for college football
Yeah,
because you know me, right?
yeah.
Sports freak. Well, this Saturday morning was a little bit different because I went on Facebook, which I do every morning to check notifications, whatever. My golf shop has a Facebook page, so I check that. Anyway, there was a post. It's just on my feed. I don't know what page it is. I don't know what I But there was a post, like some sort of a appreciation post or whatever for Batista. And so I liked it and I went to comment on it. I don't even remember what I was going to comment. It was something positive because I love Batista. I always have.
Amen. Amen.
And so, when you hit the comments button, all
Oh,
these,
oh,
and there's a comment from a guy, and I don't even remember his name. I didn't even really care to look at his name, honestly. But he just went on a tangent about how Batista is not a Hall of Famer and how Batista will never be inducted into the Hall of Fame because he quit wrestling too early, and how Batista was the worst member of Evolution. And I'm sitting here going, because my first instinct was to message him directly and say, okay, listen, homie,
we have chosen violence.
this is like way off base. Like way off base. And listen, you're entitled to your opinion. Okay. You don't think Dave Batista was a great wrestler? Fine. I guess I could understand that stance. Okay. What if you didn't like it? Whatever. Okay. Batista, let's run through it chronologically, right? He is part of the greatest rookie class in the history of wrestling. 2003, the four names, right?
Mm-hmm.
Lesnar, Cena,
Cena.
Orton,
Mm-hmm.
and Batista.
Yep.
I mean, he comes in and he's the deacon, right? It's funny. Remember when Devon was Reverend Devon?
Oh my God.
And he walked around in the black half tux
And
thing.
the
Oh,
yeah.
that, yeah. Oh, my brother, testify. Well, the guy that would carry the suitcase, whatever you call it, that they would put the money in, I forget what you call the offering, whatever, was Deacon Batista.
Oh shit, I didn't know that.
Okay. If you go back and watch, he's got a bald head, he's got the chin strap thing, and he's walking around like this the whole time. Okay.
Oh.
Deacon Batista, right? Then he kind of turns on Devon. Well, Devon kind of turns on him, and that's kind of how Batista gets his sort of solo start, kind of. And then Evolution happens, right? 2004. And Batista won the tag team titles with Ric Flair, while Randy Orton was the Intercontinental Champion and Triple H was the World Champion. They had all the belts, they had all the power. And then Batista wins the Royal Rumble.
That
You
was a
know,
great
when
year.
when he and John Cena go over the
Mm-hmm.
top rope at the same time, the quote unquote botch, okay, where they have to restart the Royal Rumble when it's just Cena and Batista, and then Batista wins, right? And then Batista gets to choose which champion he faces at WrestleMania. Does he want to face the WWE champion? Or does he want to face the World Heavyweight Champion? Well, it's going to be the WWE champion, right?
Absolutely.
Because he's in Evolution, and he's not going to face Triple H at WrestleMania. I mean, it's Evolution.
Mm. Now,
And Batista has one of the greatest face turns in the history of wrestling. Everybody got behind Batista. Everybody wanted Batista to beat Triple H at WrestleMania because Triple H was such a despicable prick. That was the character he was playing, and he was
He
really, really good.
was. Yeah, he was very good at it.
He was such a despicable, underhanded, dirty prick. Everybody was rooting for Batista, and sure enough, Batista wins. And they okay, so I'm droning on, but Batista gets drafted back to SmackDown, and he is the lead horse that pulls the SmackDown wagon from like 2005 to 2010.
Oh yeah.
Like he was undisputedly the star of SmackDown. Because like while John Cena was on Raw as the WWE champion, Batista was on SmackDown as the World Heavyweight champion. And there were,
Mhm.
Batista is an 8-time world champion, multiple time tag champion, multiple WrestleMania main events, including one against The Undertaker. And he's part of the greatest faction since 2000. That's Evolution. Now, he may be fourth on the list in Evolution. It's probably where I would put him. But the names he's behind, let's not act like they're three scrubs, right? Triple H, Ric Flair, and Randy Orton. You could do a hell of a lot worse than that. To say Batista is not a Hall of Famer, just don't talk about wrestling. Just keep your mouth shut. There's a guy named John Cena that delivers an infamous quote in one of his promos. Sometimes it's better to keep your mouth shut and have people think you're stupid than to open it and prove them right. Yeah, Batista's a Hall of Famer, guys. And again, was I a huge, huge, huge fan when he was at his peak? No. That doesn't mean he wasn't a great performer. Doesn't mean he wasn't a great wrestler. And it doesn't mean that he wasn't a multiple time world champion that earned everyone's respect, including The Undertaker. And let me tell you something. You go one-on-one with Undertaker at a WrestleMania, you've earned your spot.
Oh, absolutely.
So let's let's quit the Batista not a Hall of Famer. Let's quit that, shall we? Jesus Christ.
Oh man, one of the things that I like to say is the proof is in the pudding.
No joke.
And that's for fucking shit. That's for anybody who has gone from here and who has just boom up in the World Wrestling Entertainment business. Like
Like,
just
come on.
has shot for the stars. Absolutely, proof is in the pudding.
Well,
100.
why don't you ask Triple H if Batista's a Hall of Famer? Why don't you ask Ric Flair if Batista's a Hall of Famer?
Ask
I mean,
Randy
why don't you
Orton.
ask Undertaker, Randy Orton,
Hmm.
if
Yeah.
Batista's a Hall of Famer? Come on, people.
It
Jesus Christ.
it's the keyboard warriors.
Oh my God, man. I
Just
I just don't like where do people come up with this shit? Like
um
I don't I don't get it.
it's
I,
wild.
I mean there are other people that we could be disrespecting. I mean if you're gonna question somebody's Hall of Fame case, let's not make it a guy that's an 8-time world champion, huh? I mean, come on.
Like, if y'all want to talk schmack about anybody, we could be talking schmack about El Grande Americano, but you know.
Yeah, that's easy to do.
Ha! Ludwig von Kaiser.
By the way, speaking of Batista, and here's another feather in his cap. Does Batista have the greatest theme music ever? I mean, it's up there.
Awesome. So
Saliva,
awesome.
I Walk Alone.
I
I
walk
mean,
a
dude, you want to talk about the perfect theme song to fit a person? It's that's it.
Look, if you didn't choose that as your music when you wrestled in the neighborhood and you had the CD,
There
the
was there was only one. There was only one. Have we done theme songs on this show?
I, f- I feel like we've done a Mount Rushmore
That's what I'm
of
saying.
different theme
I think we have.
songs
There's only one that
forever ago.
yeah, there was only one that I would put to my knowledge. There's only one that I would put over I Walk Alone Batista, and that was the game. Triple H.
Oh yeah.
The Motorhead, the game. That's indisputably number one to me.
That's
But
a song I blast going into work. That and Rhea Ripley's "This Is My Brutality." Early in the morning, if you hear me blasting that down the street loudly with the windows down, you know it's going to be a day.
see free. That's awesome.
So, speaking of Rushmore, it's been a hot minute since we've done
Oh,
Rushmore. We want to wrap up this beautiful ad-libbed show for a Mount Rushmore.
oh my God. I didn't even think about it. Hang on.
Do,
Whew.
do, 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 do,
Oh,
do,
I've got
do,
one.
do.
I've got one. Mount Rushmore. For those that are not familiar, this is our opinion, right? Our opinion, our take, our perspective.
As my daddy always said, opinions are like assholes. Everyone has one.
All stink. That's right. Your Mount Rushmore of rivalries in wrestling.
Ah. Well, obviously, the first one is Shawn Michaels and Triple H. That rivalry was so cutthroat, and
Oh
it
my God.
made you
It was brutal.
really look. If you got into a fight with one of your best friends, you would think of that rivalry.
It
Like,
was brutal.
that rivalry was,
Those three, those 3 years,
we were
oh
in the
02,
trenches.
03, oh 02, oh 03, and oh 04. Oh my God. Those were some of the most violent,
Hmm.
bloody, brutal, drag out, nasty matches I've ever seen. Their match
They were
at the
great
Royal Rumble,
matches. Mm,
their last man standing match at the Royal Rumble. Oh my God. And the best, God, I hate cutting you off, but when I get on this,
no, you're fine.
best part about that match, that was Royal Rumble '03 or '04, '03. The next night on Monday Night Raw. So that match ends in a draw, right? Last man standing, they both get counted out.
I remember that. I
Okay.
remember that.
One of them could get up. But
Right.
because of that, Triple H retained the World Heavyweight title. Okay. The next night, this is an all timer that encapsulates this rivalry. Okay. Triple H comes out and he's limping and he's got tape all over, band-aids all over his face. And he is legit limping. Okay. He talks about how he won the match and he's still the world champion. And finally, Shawn Michaels is in his rear view mirror and all this shit. Shawn's music hits. Shawn's got a freaking black eye this big. He comes out limping. He's all scarred up all over his face. And Triple H gets pissed. Immediately goes, haven't you had enough yet? What do I got to do to you, Shawn? What do I have to do? Haven't you had enough yet? And Shawn Michaels takes the microphone and he goes, you and me, we haven't even gotten started yet. And JR in the background goes, oh my God. Oh my God. It is a classic, dude. Classic. Anyway, go on.
That's a beautiful rivalry. Love their
Number
rivalry.
one. Number one.
That's why I mentioned it. And then my second is Edge and Matt Hardy. Now I'm
Oh,
biased,
good one. That's a
but
good one.
so real life imitates art, right?
Very
So
much.
Edge and Matt were best friends, and Matt was dating Lita. Like,
Mm-hmm.
actually, they were dating, living together, whole thing,
Real
right?
life. Real life.
Well, Matt gets put on the shelf for injury. Lita now is, kind of canoodling with Edge. That becomes public. Matt comes back from his injury. Matt beats the shit out of Edge. It's a
Legitimate.
literally beats the fuck out of Edge.
Legitimately.
Brings out, uses the man's government name.
Yeah.
Okay.
Adam.
Uses
Yep.
Lita's government name.
Amy. Yep.
Goes on record when she's doing a radio, not radio
It was
show,
it was called Bite This.
fight this, yep, and gets on there and is going off.
Yeah.
That rivalry was just,
Yeah.
oh, like you knew the shit was hitting the fan when he brought out the government names. Like,
I'm gonna put a tail end on your on because you're completely right. The best part about that was at the end of it all, they were still smart enough to do business
hmm
because the whole thing culminated in a cage match. And you remember this. Here's another classic moment here in this cage match. Both of these guys are bloodied up and it's brutal, right? But they're doing business because they're making money, right? So Edge is lied in the middle of the ring, and Matt goes up to the top of the cage, and he gives the whole thing that he did, right?
just
And so you know he's about to deliver the damnedest leg drop you've ever seen in your life, right? JR, again, Jim Ross, ultimate call. He goes, Matt, don't do it, Matt. Don't do it, Matt. Think of your life, Matt. You have a life to live. And Matt just jumps off the cage and gives Edge the damnedest leg drop you've ever seen in your life. They Matt said he couldn't walk for weeks after he delivered that leg drop. And Matt ends up winning the match. Yeah, that's a Edge and Matt Hart. That's a good one. You pulled that one out of your hat. That's a good one.
look. And Matt is married to this beautiful woman, has a beautiful family. Edge is married to Beth Phoenix, has a beautiful family.
Yep.
Lita's living her best life. So I mean, business is business, right? With
Yeah.
rivalries, I mean, you gotta kind of, and
Right
let's see.
when there's a little bit of a personal touch to them, though.
Oh God, that's when the rivalry is great.
Yep.
I'm gonna go with this modern. As of right now, we have Seth Rollins and CM Punk, which rooted from Seth Rollins being Seth Rollins. Mainly, which we've talked about it on the show multiple times, many times. Go back and watch some of the past episodes. But
Mhm.
CM Punk left the company. Um, there's many reasons he left. Okay. I probably would have done the same thing if there was some shit going on. Like, I love this business, but I'm gonna leave. Seth Rollins was the man to stay when people left the business. He stuck it out. He fought hard. He got to where he's at. Cool beans. He sees this threat. CM Punk coming back into the business, back into the company. Everyone open arms. Oh my God, you're back. So, of course, Seth is butthurt, right? Like, well, I've been here in this company for X amount of years, busting my ass, and you just left, and now you're coming back. So that rivalry right now is just kind of deep rooted in that personal, right? These rivalries that have personal, deeply rooted grudges play out greatly for us wrestling fans. So, there's that one that I'm thoroughly, I can't wait for more tea between Seth Rollins and CM Punk, right? Like they just continue to screw each other over.
Yeah.
And my last one, which I might really need to think about this one. We got Sting going to, he's in WCW. Hulk Hogan goes to NWO. See that as a rivalry, right?
It
You're
was.
fighting good versus evil. You got Sting in WCW fighting Hulk Hogan and the New World Order. Made for great television. Um, Sting beats Hulk Hogan for the title, wins the title, gets hoisted up by all the WCW guys. Um, I think that is honestly what I have left in my tank as far as rivalries are concerned. So
Triple H and Shawn Michaels
that's number one.
is number one simply because of the backstory behind them, right? It was just the whole
There's,
thing was just perfectly written. I could start from the very beginning
I feel like there
and
was a lot of personal that was in there too.
tell it like a story, man. Well, they listen.
Hmm.
They were best friends the entire time, and
Really,
that was they were never ever at odds with. Now there were times when Sean got out of hand, right? When Sean listen,
when he was,
I don't want to tell Sean's story for
no,
him,
go
but
read his
but
book.
but I've memorized it to Sean was in over his head, and Sean got involved with drugs, and and sometimes Sean could take it over the top, and Paul Hunter, whatever you want to call him, but Sean talks about it that Hunter never left his side. Hunter made a conscious decision to be Sean's friend when nobody else in the world wanted to. So that whole rivalry thing between them and all the brutal matches, they're best friends the whole time. So there's literally no personal real life stuff. But it got to be, okay, well, who is better? Is it Triple H or is it Shawn Michaels? And at the end, I guess Triple H wins the rivalry, but Shawn got over on Triple H in the two biggest matches. The SummerSlam '02 when Shawn comes back in the street fight, and then the Elimination Chamber Survivor Series of '02 as well. First ever Elimination Chamber, Shawn Michaels wins the World Heavyweight title.
That was a great
So,
match.
oh my God. So, Shawn and Triple H, I cannot talk about rivalries without talking about the one that, in my opinion, saved the WWE, and that's Austin and McMahon.
Oh man, I don't know why I forgot that one, but that one's great.
Everybody will point to Austin and The Rock. And that's fair, but to me, Austin and Rock was 3 WrestleMania matches. And there was never anything real touchy-feely
Hmm.
personal with The Rock and Austin. It was just who's better,
Hmm.
right? And Austin won 2 out of the 3 WrestleMania matches. He won the first two, and then The Rock beat him at WrestleMania, which quote unquote retired Steve. But anyway, the rivalry that saved the WWE was Austin and McMahon. Um, without that rivalry, without Vince playing the part that he did, to his credit, I know we don't like to give Vince a lot of credit for much these days, but I'm going to do it here. Without him playing that part, and without Steve Austin doing what he did, listen, Steve Austin, I describe him as he was the guy that every working man in America wanted to be. He could go to work, cuss, talk to people however he wanted to, flip people off, beat up his boss,
Drink a beer,
drink a beer.
2 beers, 3 beers, four.
And the best part of it is that he couldn't be fired. And he couldn't be fired because he was such an asset to the company. Who the hell doesn't want that at some point in their life? What working man or working woman in America has not had a day where they're like, you know what? I'd really like to beat the crap out of my boss. Or I'd really like to beat the crap out of this certain coworker and get away with it. Austin literally did that. And so that back and forth, Austin and McMahon, it saved the WWE. If not for that rivalry, WWE would not exist today. And I stand by that. So that's two. Um, third, and I'm gonna get some heat for this one, but that's okay.
I love heat. Bring it on.
I'm gonna go with John Cena here, and I'm gonna talk about the the rivalry that I think is his best rivalry ever. And it's not Randy Orton, it's Edge.
I thought about saying that. I'm going to be honest with you because that was a great rivalry.
Cena and Edge for the better part of 4 years went back and forth. And everything from live sex celebrations to getting thrown in the Long Island Sound, culminating in Edge slapping John Cena's dad, and then Cena walking into Edge's hometown of Toronto and chunking Edge off the ladder through 2 tables in his hometown in a TLC match, the match that Edge perfected, embarrassing Edge in his hometown in his match and winning the WWE title. And then in 2000, this thing goes on to 2008 when John Cena is the world heavyweight champion on SmackDown and Edge hosts the Cutting Edge, the show that he
Uh-huh.
used to.
Uh-huh.
And Edge goes on about how much he hates Cena. I hate your theme music. I hate your shirts. I hate your hat. I hate the C Nation. I hate everything that you stand for. And Cena just says, God, listen, everybody will point to John Cena and Randy Orton. To me, Cena and Edge was a better rivalry. There was more bitterness to it. There was more hatred in it. So that's one for me.
Look,
And then
that's that. I don't mean to cut you off, but that that live sex show is the one time in wrestling my dad is like, "Oh, absolutely not. We're
yeah.
turning this. Turning this off." He's like, "We're not watching this. Oh, look, they're under the sheets. Click." Comes back 15 minutes later. That's the one time that man turned off wrestling. He's like, this is absolutely not happening tonight. No way.
Yeah.
Continue.
And I am stuck between two for my number four. I'm I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna say honorable mention is Triple H and Mick Foley. You want
Solid.
to talk about some brutal matches? Go watch
Solid.
Triple H and Mick Foley in 1999. Okay, but the one I'm gonna go with is The Undertaker and Kane.
Hmm.
And most people will go, really? They're the brothers of destruction. That's exactly the point. You remember when Kane debuted and tore the Hell in a Cell door off of the wall? That's gotta be Kane.
His brothers, yeah.
Let me see if I can do it.
Oh my God.
Undertaker, your brother Kane is alive. Yeah, the Inferno match.
Oh God, that was a great match.
Remember when Kane buried the Undertaker alive?
Oh my God, I cried. I actually thought he buried him alive.
And then they met at WrestleMania, the Brothers of Destruction,
That's great.
except they're mortal enemies
Hmm.
because Kane can't get over the fact that the Undertaker set his house on fire when they were little. It's the greatest story ever told in wrestling. And those two super heavyweights had some of the most memorable matches. I just, it was a never ending saga with those two guys. And it's one of we talk about the full circle crap on here all the time. That rivalry came full circle about four times. And it was as good in 2007 as it was in 1999. It was just, it was so well told and it was so well written. And both of those guys are absolute geniuses at the business. And so, yeah, that would be my four. Uh, yeah, that would be my four.
One more honorable mention. Now that we're talking about Kane, you got to bring up Kane and Shane McMahon.
Kane and Shane.
They had some brutal
I was at the Monday.
bro.
I was at the Monday Night Raw. This is not remembered very much, but during that was 2003. Boy, 2003 was a great year.
It was a great year in wrestling.
God, it was a great year. So that remember when Kane tied Shane to the turnbuckle and put the jumper cables on his balls?
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So 2 weeks later, Shane comes back. And remember when Shane lures Kane to the back
Hmm.
and to the dumpster and sets the dumpster on fire and kicks Kane into the dumpster? Remember where that was?
Where was that?
Agent Dome.
Really? No
I was
shit.
I was there. The stunned I have never heard. Oh my God. So everybody, because everybody was scared of Kane,
Oh
right? Because
yeah, I was
un-
terrified of Kane.
right, and
Yeah,
he what he did to poor RVD, and then he set JR on fire,
that gave me
and,
nightmares.
and tombstoned Linda McMahon on the stage, and everybody was scared of Kane,
He
right?
also put a chair over Sean's throat and
Yeah,
stomped on it. I was at
there
that
we go.
Raw. I was at the
Yeah,
Nutter Center.
yeah. So everybody was scared of Kane, right? We were all rooting for Shane McMahon.
Oh my God.
And you remember the whole thing, like the whole thing like what you were watching on TV. We were watching the same thing. because they were backstage. We couldn't see them. So everything was on the big Tron,
Hmm.
right? So we were watching this and everybody was like, oh my God, Shane, run, 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 run. Oh my God, where did Shane go? And Kane finds Shane, and Kane throws all those gasoline containers into the dumpster. And then he lights that match, and the whole thing goes, whoa. And we're like, oh my God, he's going to throw Shane in there. And he picks him up on his shoulder like this, and he goes to throw him. And Shane does this, and then he kicks Kane into the dumpster. We all went, oh my God. And then silence, because it's like, oh my God, did that shit just actually happen? Like, I've never heard a crowd go from "Ah," to so quickly in my whole life. And here we go again. This timing thing. It was so perfect because when when Shane kicked Kane in there, the camera pans on Shane and he's sweating and and then all of a sudden he goes, "Burn in hell, you son of a bitch."
Oh my
And the
God.
Cajun Dome, we were quiet when he said that. So everybody heard it and we all went, yeah, because we all thought it was over, right? I mean, kick Kane in the fire, Kane's dead,
Right,
right?
yeah, yeah.
No, because the next week is the hospital thing when Kane wakes up in the hospital and he goes and he fucking like beats the shit out of the doctors and bloodies them up and shit. Oh, that's a good one. Kane and Shane was fun, and then we all remember when Shane lured Kane to the back into the limousine and put the brick on the accelerator and ripped the cord, and the limousine went into the 18 wheeler. And yeah, that was
That shit was wild.
2003, man. 2003 was a great year.
Jeez. Surprised we remember 2003.
Oh, I do. And wrestling is
Man,
the
wrestling
reason
was great
that
in 2003. Well, I don't have much left for this wrestling show tonight. So, I mean, a lot of this we just kind of
that's all right. We had
threw
to
by the seat
get
of
back
our
on
pants.
we had to get back on the air to show ourselves that we were still living. So
We're still pissing people off. It's great.
four more.
4 more dates. Yeah. Millennials, go ahead and start scheduling your therapy sessions. Um, if you can afford therapy, I know that we're in an economy where it's kind of pricey, but if you can't afford therapy, there's also Ben and Jerry's ice cream.
There you go.
For the South, there's Bluebell ice cream. They have the peppermint bark out right now, apparently.
Dude.
If you're north, mashed potatoes and corn. So find your therapy somewhere, millennials, because we got 4 more left. And that does it for this podcast episode. We are your hosts, Chris and Chrissy. If you are not down with anything that we had to say tonight, you can suck it. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and share. Lots of sharing. Sharing is caring, only sometimes. And that does it here. So, peace out. Well, what a fun time we had. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and watch more of Chair to Face Wrestling podcast here on YouTube. And we're also on Spotify. Bye!